Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Takeout. This time we're going to take a look at a lesser known puzzle game for the Game Boy Color called Toki Tori. The game starts off with a lame story about chickens disappearing and eggs being taken away by some magical force. Suddenly, Toki Tori hatches out of the one egg that's left behind, and it's his task to get back all the eggs that have been taken. It's a pretty stupid premise for a game, but story isn't everything in a game like this, so let's move on. This game was made in the Netherlands by a company called Two Tribes. This was their very first game, and they've mostly stuck to cell phones since then. Their only other game of note on handhelds was Worms Open Warfare 2 for the DS, which I haven't played, but it seems to have some pretty good reviews from the bigger sites out there on the net. In any event, Toki Tori is an action puzzle game that reminds me of games like Lost Vikings and Lemmings. The gameplay is pretty simple. Basically, your goal is to collect all the eggs scattered around the stage while avoiding the monsters and obstacles by using the tools provided to you. The game has some really great graphics for the Game Boy Color, since most Game Boy Color games just look like the original Game Boy games with 3 or 4 colors added. But this game really goes all out and tries to make the most of the limited color palette. It even has transparencies when you walk behind the waterfalls. The sound is not quite as good as the graphics, but it's still decent. It gets the job done, but it's nothing too special. But even though the sound isn't stellar, it doesn't really detract from the experience too much. The one thing I like about the game is that it does a great job of introducing new abilities to you and making sure that you know how to use them to solve the puzzles. I always felt like I had all the tools I needed to finish the stage. The game also controls well, and you get to use a lot of powers to help you through the levels. If I have one complaint, it's that there are places where you can get stuck and you have to start the whole level over again. The levels involve a lot of trial and error to get through, but I found it really rewarding when I finally made it through one. Also, most of the levels are fairly small, so it's not too big a hassle to play them over again. Plus, the game autosaves after every level, so you never have to repeat a stage once you've completed it. In the end, Toki Tori is a fun and addictive puzzle game. I don't think it's on a lot of people's radars because it came out for the Game Boy Color about 3 months after the Game Boy Advance had been released, but it's still a pretty fun game, and since I found it online for just under $4, it's really a pretty good find. Well, that wraps up another episode. It was kind of a short one this week, but I didn't have much time since I was late last week, and I wanted to at least get something out for you guys. If you want to see the back catalog of all the shows, please head over to videogametakeout.com, where you can see all the past episodes, as well as a bunch of other great shows. You can also suggest games you'd like to see, or just leave a comment in the forums there. Also, you can now buy the games that I talk about on the site. The links are on the right-hand side of the videos, so if you decide you like something you saw on the show, you have the option of buying it from us via Amazon, which will help support the show. It's definitely not required, but every little bit helps. Thanks as always for watching, and have a great week.